This is Justin White's net present value project for the hospital analysis on the packet that was given in class for finding at 695. This here is my summary tab that shows the equations and values for net present value, payback method, and discounted payback method in terms of purchasing. If the state were to purchase a new hospital for $30 million or continue running an inefficient, expensive older hospital for the next 20 years. So as you can see here, I came up with a net present value of about $8.5 million, which shows that investing in the new $30 million hospital would save cash outflows of $8.5 million over the next 20 years. So what I did in my analysis, which I'll show you on the next tab, I looked at cash outflow savings and whatever cash inflows you get from selling the old hospital. So I didn't look at every single cash outflow for the new hospital versus the existing hospital. I looked at the savings, which is what the packet gave, and brought those savings back to today's dollars. And that's how I came up with $8.5 million. The payback method, I come up with year 14 would be just not enough, and year 15 would actually be your true year for your payback method at 31 million. This is non-discounted cash flow savings plus cash generated from the asset sale, less the cost of the demolition of the old hospital. So I did take these two factors into account, which is the cost to demo everything and then your asset sale cash that you're going to generate. But again, payback is non-discounted. Then for the discounted payback method, I got year 14 is right over $30 million. And again, this also takes into account all the cash generated in year 1 from the asset sales and the cost of the demolition to generate that asset sale. So if you come over here, cash outflow of $30 million, the salaries and benefits from the packet for the first 6 years when you open the new hospital are going to be these numbers, these total numbers here. Then I have the capital savings. So what I did for the capital savings was I took the list of capital projects for the next 3 years. I multiplied the value of those projects by the probability of funding, and that's how I came up with these totals here for years 1, 2, and 3. Again, we'll go over this later, but this assumes, if you were to keep it, that there are no more capital outlay projects, which is hard to believe if you have a facility that in 17 years you wouldn't have any capital outlay projects. But again, this assumes that there are none because the packet didn't give any. So these are your savings every year for not doing the capital work in the packet. These here are the savings that you have from operating, which would be over the next 20 years. I believe it was electricity, maintenance, and some other things. But these totals are straight from the packet, so that's what you save every year when you buy the new hospital. This is actually the cash generated from selling all of your assets, which would happen in year 1. I have that total down here, and then that is the 1.2 million cost of demo to clear the trees and all the other stuff outlaid in the packet. So if you come down here, these are the totals of all your cash outflows that you will save by buying the new $30 million hospital. Stretch these all the way across. You come down here. This is actually discounted back to today's dollars. So you have a total of 35 million that you're going to save over the next 20 years by buying the new hospital. The 4 million is the money you're generating cash inflows after year 1 for selling everything. And then when you come here, I also deducted the 1.2 million that you have to spend to make all this happen, to prep the site and the real estate. So that's how I came up with the net present value of 38.5 million, which gives you your difference of 8.5 million. So you're gonna save cash outflows of 8.5 by buying this new $30 million hospital. And again, that's based on the savings of cash outflows that's outlined in the packet. So for the bond analysis, I took an assumption that it was an analysis on, instead of the state investing their $30 million in a new hospital, what would happen if they invested it into either a 7-year or 19-year bond. So if they invested into a 7-year bond yielding 3%, you'd have a net profit of 1.7. This is not greater than the $8.5 million savings that you're going to have from the new hospital project. So I would say, or recommend not to do the 7-year bond. Now the 19-year bond's a little bit different. It shows a net profit of $73 million, which shows, it's obviously greater than the $8.5 million savings of cash outflows, but you generate $8.5 million savings and cash outflows a lot faster. You get closer to it in these first 6 years. This is going to take you 19 years to get your money back. You still have the asset on your hand at the end of it. And this is also taken into an assumption that there's no new capital expenses happening after the first 3 years. If you keep it for 20 years, you will have to have some sort of maintenance or capital projects on it. And the overall operating costs probably go up too. So this assumes none of that. If I were to give a recommendation to the state for these options, I would say to buy the new hospital and take the cash outflow savings.